Here. So let me get the right screen up on this side. Thank you. All right, I'm Brad Lierman. I'm practice manager for collaboration, DevOps, and the advanced support team at NSI. Been in IT for about 33 years. Started off Novell administration, repairing PCs like a lot of people. Got into IT early, fell in love with it, and then went off to NSI, joined up around 2000, 2001, got my hands deep into Cisco and learned about telephony as Cisco acquired a company a few years before that, and brought us call manager and voice over IP. So I've focused for the last 22 years on collaboration and all that entails the on-prem PBX, voicemail, contact centers, and so on. So been there a little while. Gonna start off with a QR code up here. This will take you to a Slido and has a little passcode. So we're going to do a name that year, 5 quick questions, mostly to make sure you can scan this in case you want some of the other QR codes in here. So I'll fire up Slido if you guys want to try jumping into that. And yes, the passcode's up here. I get that every presentation. Not working for you? We got 9 other people that says this is working. All right, looks like we're starting to slow up. Everybody in that wants to get in? All right, let's start the quiz here. And we're talking about phones, so we'll start with what year was the telephone patent, or when, more precisely, Bell filed for the patent? Oh, they're all just for fun. There's no punishment at the end. All right. So 13% of you got it. 1876. There's only 5 of these. We'll step through them fairly quick. The next one is the technology for fax machine. Faxes have been around a while. When was that technology created? All right, looks like we got most our results in. And the correct answer is 1864. The fax machine was around, the technology for it was around before the telephone. It was the 2D telegraph, is what they called it, a 2-dimensional telegraph. So, and I mentioned this one a little bit earlier. Oh, step back. In what year did Cisco acquire Celsius? I didn't give you the exact year, but I gave you a hint. Should get you close. The answer is 1998. Next one, we all probably have one of these, is the cell phone. What year was that invented? All right, looks like the majority of you got it right. It's 1973. And then our last one. What year was NSI founded? A large majority of you got that one right. Get the last couple in there. 1989. All right, we're going to look at our leaderboard. And Michael got 3 of the 5 and under a minute answering. So this is Slido. Oh boy, I butcher your last name's bad. Michael S. Let's see if we narrow it down there. Back there. Michael, how do you say your last name? Thanks. So this is Slido. This is a piece of WebEx's suite. One, I like to use it because it gets the QR code to get focus. I've got maybe 3 or 4 QR codes in here that may be interest. It's also another way that we communicate with one another within meetings. You can use Slido for quizzes like I did, polls to collect information, very useful utility. So thanks for playing along with me. So now as we move into our WebEx discussion, I like to move into work anywhere because it's very present in front of all of us as we talk about return to office from our COVID escape and running to figure out how to work from home and now reintegrate everything. We've got a younger workforce that is used to working wherever they want, mostly at home. So as we look to challenge ourselves with how do we accomplish this, like to start out to ask if anyone would like to volunteer their work at home strategy or how that looks at your company, or just what's it mean for your company? Takers? No one? I should ask this when the food's out and you guys are loosened up a little bit. I'll give you my definition of it. It's the ability to work seamlessly from any location, any device with tools and technologies delivered securely. So that's a big task, a lot in there. As COVID hit, a lot of people scrambled to grab what was available to them. They didn't really think about what's this freemium, this free product that we're now jumping onto and doing things. We all remember the Zoom bombs where everybody jumped the Zoom and everybody jumped into your Zoom meeting too sometimes. And that got reacted to, secured. Things were learned. Some products have changed. We got virtual backgrounds, noise canceling stuff we'll talk about as we go through here that have helped us in that work from home. Collaboration. As I said, Slido is part of that. I don't think any of you would have said Slido was part of collaboration if I ask you to define collaboration. But we look at how we collaborate. There's a lot of things from older stuff like PBXs and faxing, the PSTN, to newer things like virtual reality and augmented reality that are coming into our ways of communicating. They all take systems to build them up. When we look at a traditional on-prem system, a lot of those things are covered with a dual system for redundancy because we all want to be redundant and reliable, but then a number of different applications. And this highlights a lot of the Cisco stack for traditional on-prem. And when we look at all of that, we're used to this, and this is what we're talking about, the cloud and cloud calling versus all on site. When you're all on site, you're going through this every year, every couple years, every couple months with security packs. You're doing a bit of the maintain, upgrade, and back to keep stuff secure and up to date. Hardware gets cycled in here. And so what cloud offers us is a subscribe. You buy the services you want, the services your business needs, and the quantities you want. So moving over to Cisco's offering, calling is something that Cisco's offered in the cloud for a little while. We, myself, have focused on-prem. That's been a very solid, reliable system. Cisco started into the cloud with a product called Cisco Spark. Anyone try that early on? Use Cisco Spark? Anyone heard of it? Everyone's arms work? All right. Cisco Spark had an amazing administrative interface. It worked well, but they had a few lessons to learn and what happened in the back end with the cloud and stuff. They acquired another company, as they tend to acquire the best of breed and bring it into them. That was BroadWorks, which brought us BroadSoft, a carrier grade PBX that had been running the cloud for a long time. It had about 60% between them and Cisco in the market space of cloud when they were purchased. So using that carrier grade PBX, what they had learned from Spark, they put that administrative interface over a very complex backend system and have given us an easy to use, very reliable system in Cisco WebEx calling. So as a slide, I don't need to read it to you, highlights a few of those things. It's really ready for prime time and as reliable as the on-premise system and beyond. It brings some stuff that we'll talk about with the PSTN that gives you redundancy and resiliency beyond what you could achieve with the on-premise. So WebEx is more than that. It's got a few features. I like this one because I have dealt with TAC a lot and the music's familiar and it talks my way into the next feature I'm going to talk about here. So I should have mentioned at the beginning, I'm not a professional presenter. I can't correctly insert YouTube videos into a PowerPoint. So I started at the end and I got to hit repeat here. That'll happen again in my other deck. Forgive me for my PowerPoint. And back that up. That's a Cisco.
Change the flight. You can just text customer service.
Customer service the way your customers want it. Easy.
That may haunt my nightmares forever. That old music. Heard that a lot. So as you saw there, she's on hold and he says you can text customer service. And we've had that through third-party plugins and other stuff, but Cisco now has it natively on the PSTN, meaning your same business number that you receive phone calls on, you can also receive text right into the WebEx application. As in this previous, they said you can use it in the contact center. So you can have that omni-channel contact center, bring in text, other messages as well into the contact center. But now on an individual basis outside the contact center, you can bring text in. I'm gonna play this real quick and we'll talk about some use cases for this. Again, my PowerPoint skills. I'm glad I wouldn't have a job long.
Business texting enables WebEx calling users to easily send text messages directly from the WebEx app. Let's check it out. To send a new text, simply click the plus icon and select Send a Text Message. Type in the recipient's phone number and click Create. Next, compose your text message, click Send, and off it goes. You can see that our recipient has received the text message on their iPhone and is typing a reply. In this case, the recipient would like a response with a voice call. We can easily call back the user from our business texting conversation by simply clicking the phone icon. When you receive a text message, a notification appears, and you can quickly see that message in the WebEx app. Business texting is available with Cisco calling plans in the United States and Canada for no additional fee. It's yet one more secure and compliant way to communicate with WebEx calling.
So business texting is going to open up a lot. We already text. Everybody texts somebody, and our employees are texting people, and in schools, teachers are texting parents. All that's done outside of your phone system, outside of any content management. That conversation ends on that cell phone, and when that employee leaves, you lose that information potentially. So by having texting in, you can start adding services to the one replace that cell phone interaction with something that's actionable. You add in the contact center and you can grow that. So One of the questions, well, what's the application? Who's done grocery pickup? Come on, arms work. I've done it at Walmart. When I went to Walmart, did the little interaction on text, I was using Cisco Business Texting to get that done. So that was one of the first proof of concepts. As COVID hit, we needed to have grocery pickup. Obviously, that took off. Great idea. And Cisco was there with the answer for Walmart as they tried it out and then deployed it to all the stores. So that's one use case. I get prescriptions at CVS. They text me. I can respond with stop so they don't bother me again and I don't get it. Or I can go pick up my prescription. But I can't say I want to pick it up on Wednesday and have it scheduled. That's not part of their system. That's an advantage a competitor could have over them by implementing something like this. So as you look at different uses, how you interact with your customers, maybe it's order status. Texting is another way of communicating that we haven't had within the phone system in such an integrated manner before. And I'm talking about texting, but my slide's about noise removal. Maybe people work from home. I think Jason's got a great story about his dog that likes to howl in the background. And I've got 2 grandkids at home and a couple huskies that love to sing. Before I had the WebEx device, I would use the WebEx app to mute it out. And the WebEx device I have, I'll talk about a little bit more, is this mini. And it does a great job, but I get on the other or on there and other people would be on the outside using their cell phone or some other microphone or whatever. And it was noisy on their sides too. So I could take care of mine. I'm using all this great Cisco stuff. Now with Cisco PSTN, you can do the noise canceling for the far end. So if you have someone in a noisy data closet talking to you or a classroom or wherever it is that it's noisy, it removes all of that. And the noise canceling technology is amazing. It could do natural or neutral, which is just no noise canceling at all to allow like music and stuff through. Then it does a background suppression. So if we have dishes clanking or keyboard or paper rattling, that's all taken out, but a group of people would be heard talking in the background. There's one called My Voice Only, which I don't see up here. My Voice Only optimizes it for my voice. It learns it. So if there's 3 of us in the room and I have it set for my voice only and I'm looking at this device, or maybe 4, the 3 of you are talking, it'll absolutely remove all of your audio and only let mine through so that it's a very clear communication. So they make great strides, and that's available with the PSTN, whether you're using a device, you're calling into that meeting from your cell phone, or you're just having a one-to-one call using Cisco PSTN. All right, 911 services. They made a lot of strides in the PSTN arena. But whether you're using their PSTN service connected to the cloud calling or you're using your own carrier, they've partnered with a company to provide what they call nomadic E911. So if you tried to keep up with 911 laws, they've changed every few years, adding Ray Baum, Melissa's Act, Kerry's Law. Keeping compliant with those can be difficult. Cisco offers nomadic E911 with the calling product that dynamically tracks your users. When they take a device like this to a new site, if you give them mobile devices, or they plug in their computer and the soft phone boots up with the WebEx app, it'll check network parameters that their computer is connected to. And if it doesn't know that network, it will prompt them for the address, and it immediately updates the emergency services public database. So if they were to enter the address and need to call 911 5 seconds later, it's responding to exactly where they put that in. So your 911 compliance is handled through the user being prompted and the system dynamically updating in the background, which takes care of a lot of administrative overhead for 911 compliance. And the last PSTN feature I'll hit on here is WebEx Go. So as someone that's been on call, I don't want to give everybody my personal cell phone number. But as administrator of the on-call system, I don't want to change the phone number all the time for whoever's on call. WebEx Go allows for a virtual cell phone number, an eSIM, to be added to your cell phone. So you have a second line that's your business line. Uses a natural dialer. So you can select between your WebEx Go line or your primary personal cell phone number, allowing you to get your business calls on your cell phone, even when you have no data and you're in a cell-only area. So you can take that call with you. I think of on-call texts, remote texts that are working, business individuals that are out and don't want to give their personal cell phone number out, but want to text using the business text, Cisco Go, you can exchange, have that communication, and keep it within your professional lane and out of your personal business there. So those are a few features. Talking about working anywhere, there's a few others listed off here, and I'll step through them, some of their use cases. So call transcription is one that I like, 'cause I'm in meetings all the time, jumping from one meeting to the other. And I know one of my techs, Jonah, told me something earlier today in our 9 o'clock meeting that I'm going to have to go look up because he wanted me to do something. I just got to remember a few words or around the time, because WebEx Assistance is doing a live transcription of my call. And I can go back and search through that and go, okay, it's about 9 o'clock, Jonah. So I'll put in Jonah, said, I need you to do this. And then I've got the rest of it, can read through there and get all my details. Or if I need to forward it on to someone else to follow up on the call, or I want to go to a particular spot, I could search quickly, find that spot, and start playing back the recording. Anyone work for a multinational or people that speak a different language than them? I speak English. I didn't pay any attention in high school when I was taking German. Remember zero of it. Live translation would allow me to call someone up, and on the screen, it does the translation. We'll look at that on the next slide here. But it's pretty incredible. Real time, it'll translate between, I think, 13 or 14 languages. They keep adding more. And so you could just talk and it shows up like closed caption at the bottom and have a natural conversation. Again, the noise removal, WebEx Go, all enhance our experience. Apple CarPlay, and it also works with Android, allows you to use the WebEx app. You will not get video while your car is in motion unless you decide to hack your car and other stuff. But it allows you to participate and control the WebEx meeting using Apple CarPlay. Hot desking is a really neat feature that's came with some of these Cisco devices, especially the mobile ones. They allow you to walk up to a device like this one. It'll have a QR code on the side, scan it. It'll ask you if you want to log into this device and how long you want it for, so that you can book a device, kind of like a hotel or hot desk, and be there for 5 hours. It brings your extension right to it, your DID. When you leave, it returns it back to how the device was before. So if you use extension mobility within Call Manager or Communication Manager, same thing, except for on the video end in the device. WebEx for every space is, of course, the push there to have it available to be used, as you see a couple different examples there. And then the headsets, which got one of them down here if you're interested, but there's a number of headsets. They have the noise canceling built into them, as well as the noise suppression for the near side. So let's take a look here at the language barrier video.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. So glad you could join us today. We have a packed agenda, so let's get started.
Et comme vous pouvez le savoir, Van Gogh était fasciné par les secrets.
Las ventas globales aumentaron un 11%. Muy buen trabajo, equipo.
Pretty quick, not a lot of delay if you're paying attention between that. Looks really well. All right, I'm gonna jump over. It's gonna take me a moment to get into Control Hub, but I want to show you guys some of the administrative side. So everyone is only Cisco here, right? No other PBXs, no other video conferencing. All right, so obviously a few people, different systems. So that Cisco's done, I mentioned that Control Hub. They have ensured that everything's under that single pane of glass. When I say everything, they have calling, meetings, messaging, all of the different administrative interfaces, and troubleshooting, reporting, analytics. So you're not jumping all over the place to take care of the users or the network here. So let's get that up. Duplicate, sorry. All right, so this is the WebEx administrative interface. Starts off with alerts and monitoring, so you can see what's going on in your environment, user management, organizational devices, workspaces, then all your individual services, events, connected UC if you have a hybrid environment. These last two are interesting if you're an on-prem user and you're looking to migrate into the cloud, go to that hybrid and eventually to the cloud. Connected UC allows you to bring in your Cisco on-premise network devices like the call manager, Unity, contact center into this interface for reporting and some troubleshooting stuff and start that hybrid migration there. So as we go through this, I like to hit the users, and I won't bore you too long in here. We're going to hit some troubleshooting. As an engineer, I like to show off a few of these things that you can do that were previously difficult. So we'll look at my user account. And right here, for going into the user, we immediately get my profile, my spoken language, in case I need it translated, any labels. We pull in the groups that I'm members of. This is from AD, so I got a couple different groups that'll list there. My licensing, I can change, add calling, take away calling, allow me to do basic or advanced meetings. And then my security roles and my actual security. If after this, my boss decides I'm done forever, one button and it kicks me out of all my devices. And it's that easy. It takes away all those security tokens. Then as you need to adjust individual services, I have my general tab, meeting, you can get in, look at my CMR info, calling, you can adjust my phone number, my rights, whether I have business texting or not, any voicemail and fax touch things are all just under here where you'd expect them for the user. You're not jumping from one interface to set up unified messaging to then set up the devices. You want to see which devices I've had, whether I've used them in a while. My little 4K camera has traveled more on the road than it's been connected. And you can see this from the interface. It's not plugged in. And we could go in and see I probably haven't used it since I got this thing. So looking at your users, their devices, and managing them all under one place. You want to go in and look at, say, work groups. We've got a Granger collaboration room's got a WebEx bar in it. We can look at all the different stuff, where it's at, the email address it's integrated with, handle scheduling, its calling rights, all kinds of stuff within here. Even looking at the sensors to realize it's a little cold in Granger at 66 degrees in that particular room. So that information's available through this interface and through its API. So the last piece we're going to jump up to is some of this troubleshooting stuff. So as an on-prem engineer for the last 20 years, I've done a lot of troubleshooting of networks. And that included pulling out like Wireshark, a sniffer, going through and collecting packets, and then traces from gateways and traces from telco, and trying to put them all together to see what's going on with these calls. So you can see, we can look back at calls from the last several days or meetings. And we're going to pull up mine. I grabbed this one here with Ruth. This is our HR director. And I know on this call, I had some breakup. We can see it right here. So I want to know why. What was going on there? Well, I can look and immediately see I had some drop packets. My bandwidth has some, stuff going on here. It color codes, so I can immediately look at it and see, okay, fair, poor, where am I at with this? So this is my audio piece of it. This is my video piece. I can see my video got really bad. It probably had that old 80s max headroom breakup as it was losing that much. And so this helps. I know now I've got my Wireshark piece done, right? I know my packets are dropping. I've got latency. I've got some jitter going on. I can see that over on the side where I came from. Here's my public IP, my private. Oh, I can even tell what hardware I'm on, the OS that it's running. As I scroll on down through here, I can see there's no CPU info because I'm on this guy. But if I go back to the other participants, I can look at Kim, same type of thing, see her audio experience. And then I can see Kim's system was running a little bit high. And I can see that the amount of memory taken by the WebEx app. it starts to get into to tell you a lot more. I can see she was using the app. She was connected via Ethernet. She's on Windows 10. She was using her Cisco desk camera. All this is great information. To get this before, Cisco put it all under the single pane of glass. Again, Wireshark. I'm going into my RMM tool to look at my network devices, to look at my PCs, see what applications they're running. It takes a lot of time to collect all the information they put under here. And she was on, let me go back to the screen here. We can see she kicked off to her cell phone at one point, fall back to PSTN. Very powerful information for troubleshooting your network. And then there's reports and analytics we get into, so you can look at user adoption. We buy all this stuff, we put it out there, and we just think people are using it. The analytics let us look and see who our power users are, so we can find that person in the customer service department that really gets it and knows how to use the features you're rolling out, whether it's messaging or meetings, and make them your advocate for spreading the word, or encourage those who aren't using it. So as we go through, you can look at different trends, monthly, weekly, you can add dashboards. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here as we move back, but any questions before I move out of this? Anything you guys want to see? Give me a moment and I'll switch my screens back around here. All right, very good. No, we don't want to start there again. Give me just a second. All right. This is another video I'm going to go through, and we'll come back, not to this one. There we go. We'll come back. There's a few spots in here I want to highlight to talk about a few things.
The office? Oh, I'm good right here.
How more about the office? This is my workspace.
My workforce to be productive and happy in every workspace. It's been years since I've been on site. How am I supposed to navigate the new setup? Have they even updated those old meeting rooms?
Hey, WebEx. Start my meeting.
Everyone gets their own perfect workspace and they can interact the way they'd like to.
There's so many distractions at home. I can only focus here.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can only hear you. Our remote, I may not be seen or heard. Or heard me or not. You should get tools like this at home.
Sure you do.
When you're on the go, moving a meeting is difficult. Wow, I didn't know you could do that.
They're getting the support they need and we know our IP is secure.
Are you okay? Who are you talking to? It's all right here in real time. I retired with user, app, and device manager. We even set them up with teleworker gateways that have VPN, Wi-Fi, and cellular failover if the internet goes down.
Ooh, virtual concierge. Nice. We've created intelligent, flexible, and secure workspaces so our awesome teams can do their very best work.
All right, I'm going to back up a couple spots here. Does it work better if I do it on this side? Maybe. There we go. Start out with this one here. It's a lobby, and they're using this device, the WebEx Desk Pro, as a virtual concierge. You heard at the end of the video. So it's got detection for people presence and such. And as we look at how we reshape some of the positions within our company, I noticed receptionists are moving, centralized sometimes. This allows us to put a device out here, virtual assistant. You can add some of the web features for like the Meraki wireless guest. So you can have it pop up as someone walks in, greet them. Once they validated who they're there for, all that, you can have it go right in and create their wireless guest ID and go on. There's lots of uses. Maybe it's just package reception and you validate it's the UPS guy leaving the thing or greeting your actual guest. The other thing is off to the right there, you can see a WebEx board, and that WebEx board is running DNA Spaces. It's giving information. It's a little hard to see in this frame, but the different rooms are color coded based on their availability. So when you walk in, you can see that, oh, conference room A is available till 1 o'clock. You can click on those and start booking the different rooms. So these are devices that are used a little bit outside their traditional thought of way, like being a desktop video conferencing to being a virtual concierge. And let's move along here. Yeah, that one right there. So he starts talking to the device. So it has a lot of the normal, hey, whatever audio device you're wanting to use. And so this one can join meetings and make it real simple on your scheduled meetings, as he does in this one. You can also build upon this vocabulary to do some of the room control stuff. With integrations with the APIs, you can do things like dim the lights, hey, WebEx, shut the blinds, or prepare the room, and it orchestrates a series of actions. So the voice recognition in here has a lot of built-in commands just for scheduling, joining, doing various things you would want to do around the meeting, but also has that expandability of adding skill sets through programmability. And we look at that noise canceling kicking in here as they're having their meeting. Move up a couple more seconds. And you notice I had a question the other day about, well, she's putting her headphones on. What about her side? That's where the headphones comes on. Even though he can't hear her, the active noise cancellation in the headphones now allows her to black out the noise in her background. And you can see the blurred virtual background working there as well. So using a device like the Desk Mini and a headset, she becomes kind of isolated, unaware of the environment around her as she interacts in that meeting. And the people that are meeting with her, really the background doesn't matter. She could just as easily be at home, at a Starbucks, or on the road somewhere and just working. So it allows that work from anywhere. And then the whiteboarding. Right about there. He talks about how only tools are available at the office. With some of the bigger devices, we're used to only having a certain set of tools at the office. You can whiteboard a device like this or that, or even within the WebEx app. You can collaboratively whiteboard, meaning multiple people within that meeting are whiteboarding at the same time. So it's really cool to have those features away from the office in everyone's hand, not just those that have particular devices or are in a workspace. And the last one I'll look at here is at 115. It's that
VPN, Wi-Fi, and cellular failover.
didn't mean for him to play. It's that little device there. That is a cellular backup gateway. So when we think about cloud calling versus on-prem, and on-prem, we build up a lot of stuff, SRST. If you guys are familiar with that, is a survivable remote site telephony. It's a gateway that connects extra PSTN circuits, whether it's analog or a dedicated SIP circuit, to provide some extra redundancy. And so a lot of the questions about what happens in the cloud when my site goes down, nothing really to your service. You walk outside, use cellular, or you have a cellular backup gateway. So if your primary internet trunk goes down, it kicks over the cellular backup, which some of you may have in place for your data already. It can now handle your VoIP across that as well. If your building gets wiped out, your users go home and they work from there because it connects right back to the cloud. If you have Cisco PSTN services, your services are there. Hopefully nothing happens. Well, let's say the Midwest gets a big knockout. The data center we primarily run through is Chicago. That was to be wiped out over to Arizona or one of the other systems your whole PSTN calling WebEx service goes to. So even with a major catastrophe in a regional area, your system's still up and your workers, assuming they're safe, are still able to work and move on. So a lot of redundancy built into the system, a lot of features that are easy to overlook. So I wanted to back up through this video. There's a lot going on. One of the things when I look at Cisco is just the seamlessness of how they move from place to place. I didn't write down the QR code, it's time slot. But there's one scene, a guy walks up and he goes, "It's seamless to work." And he swipes the QR code. What he's doing is taking the meeting that he's on his cell phone and moving it to a device. So when I'm at the office in Granger, I'll be working on my device and I'll want to move to a larger conference room because I've got now 3 people in and we're bringing more people into a meeting. I can move that meeting to my cell phone, walk down to the conference room and transfer it off my cell phone right into that conference room system, and not like a transfer 1, 2, 3 transfer. And I only got half my meeting. I took the entire WebEx meeting from my desk. Everybody's still communicating while I'm on my phone. I'm still communicating, and then to a larger system where more people come in. And that's pretty powerful to be able to take that meeting and move it physically while keeping everyone on the same call. So, and we're done with that. All right, I'm going to move through some devices that Cisco offers, starting with that desk cam. A lot of our users were using the built-in laptop camera or some older webcams. Some even picked up some Logitech cameras for a while. And we started getting these devices in. We'd use some of the, anyone seen the Cisco little round barrel camera? Been around forever. They're great cameras. So we had people that are holding on to those things and using those as well. These are 4K cameras that offload the processing of the video to the camera off your computer. So as we have to maintain computers like everyone else, we have an aging cycle and we look at what's the impact of these different video calls and the different software we ask and the computers are using. By offloading the video to this little device instead of having it on the computer, we were able to get a little extra life out of our computers and a much, much better quality video experience for our users and the people that we're meeting with. It's truly a great device, and then the quality is phenomenal. So the next one's one of my favorite devices. Myself and my team got some of these in November, December timeframe. I think we gave them to the rest of our account managers. It was about February.
Yeah.
I think I'd have a hard time prying them out of their hands. Since I've got mine, I love it. I join meetings all day, in and out, and they're not always WebEx meetings. So not my favorite, but I get those Microsoft Zoom. I think I've been in a few Google meetings. In the past, before I had this device, I hated Microsoft. And not because they're a competitor, but it locked up my webcam and my microphone. So when I go for that Microsoft meeting and you get back into a WebEx or someone else, that required a reboot. So I'd have to reboot the computer, get back in. If they're back to back, I'm late to the meeting. And that's always embarrassing to be 5 minutes late while you wait on it. The Desk Mini is phenomenal. If it's on my calendar, I get a join button and they stack up on the side. Join this, join that. I think I got another slide a little bit later that shows that, and just how easy it is to go from meeting to meeting to meeting. And I get full features. This device makes the other meetings look like WebEx, if you will. And then I bring all my features of my noise background, my camera control, the virtual backgrounds. All that works within the other meeting platforms. Yeah.
So, okay, look at your configuration. So is that screen there, is that used as a tablet and all the technologies in the base? Oh,
Yep.
It's all one piece.
It's connected to my computer now. I unplug it USB-C. It is an independent device and can be used. And this whole unit. Yep. And when you hear sound during this presentation, that's coming out of this guy. It's got a phenomenal speaker built in. That's why you're an account manager. All right, let me get my presentation back up here. And I encourage questions. Feel free to interrupt and ask at any point. So back to that mini. The other one's a Desk Pro over here, very much like the Mini, bigger format. It's got 27-inch screen, does not have a handle. You're probably not making that a mobile. It's more of an executive device. Or Cisco has used them in what they call huddle spaces. Anyone heard of a huddle space? It was a fairly new term to me last fall when I first saw it. And it reminds me kind of like a phone booth. They take these little spaces, throw in a chair, maybe a couple chairs and this device. And I thought, I wonder how many people will use that. So I got a chance to hang out at the Cisco office in Chicago. And there were a number of people that would just pop in. They didn't want to be at their desk, but they didn't want to put on the headphones or anything to get that privacy. They just pop into these little phone booth or huddle spaces and have their meeting and step back out and back to their desk. It just made a small conference room that gave them a little bit extra than what they had on their desk. So
Since you take that around, it's a touch screen as well.
yes, and a touch is passed through to my laptop. So when it's connected like now, I can tell it to pass that through and progress to my next slides and back. So very nice. Or draw, got a little stylist, both these devices. So I'm not an artist. Steve will draw for you though. He's great. All right, so device interoperability. Here's that slide I was talking about. In addition to the actual button, so if you want to enter your meeting for Google or Teams or Zoom, you can do that. But I like it because my calendar's integrated. So all I got to do is touch it or use the voice assistant and tell it, hey, join my meeting, and it'll join right into it. And I don't fear that I got meetings stacked up one after the other, although this person double booked themselves. I can join from one to the next without having to worry about going in between them. I get my same reminder that pops up, says, hey, you've got a Teams meeting next. I can hit snooze and then hit join, and away it goes. So that's correct. I go right into it. Yep. And one other thing I'll hit on while I'm here, these two devices act as a webcam and speaker off your computer. So if you want to use your native software for Teams or Zoom, you can just use these like they're a webcam and a speaker. It sounds like a very good speaker. I play music through it quite often. It's so good versus the premium speakers I had before. So, all right, then you can also start using these under Microsoft Teams as native devices. So Cisco's certifying the different devices with Microsoft so they can do native registration. There's one of those QR codes. It's about a 4-minute video that talks about what it looks like to run Microsoft Teams Room on the Cisco devices. If you're a Teams shop, that may be an advantage. So the desk cam and a couple of the headsets are already certified. The RoomKit Pro, Room Bar, and that device over there are expected anytime. It may have already happened, but it was early 2023. And then summertime, we're going to get a couple of the other devices in there and have them available as well. All right. So we get into some of the room kits. This is the WebEx Room Bar. It has a number of really cool features built into it. It doesn't have an independent codec that's built into it. So you take this little bar, it's got a power cable, it's got a navigator, which I'll show in a little bit for the room control. Let's plug in the TV and you got an instant conference room with a lot of advanced features. You've got video modes, which I'll show a clip in just a moment. But focused, group, framing, speaker track, all of those in, the noise canceling technologies I talked about before, as well as the content sharing, wireless or through wired, all the features in a little compact desk, or I'm sorry, a room bar there. And let's go to that video. So this is the different video modes. I tried describing it and then I found this video. It does a much, much better job.
People Focus utilizes the intelligence that is built into our cameras to dynamically update the screen layout to ensure that you get the best view in a meeting, regardless of where you join from. People Focus is a layout option on your WebEx device, taking you from a traditional view like this to this, a much better experience for everyone. We are now extending this intelligence to enhance the view that remote participants get of your meeting room. And this is what you're probably used to seeing. Now, this is the view that you will get, even when joining third-party meeting platforms. WebEx by Cisco makes hybrid work more inclusive, blurring the lines between home and the office.
Just kind of repeat what she said there at the end. That works with these devices, whether you're joining a WebEx meeting, Zoom, Microsoft, gives you that much better appearance, takes out the white space. I had the question the other day of how well does it work? If we're kind of close together, does it still frame you up? And yes, I've seen guys standing about that far apart when we were playing with it at the Cisco office, and it separated them, zoomed in, and we'll see some of that potentially when we're going through it a little later. So to the rest of the room kits, there's another QR code for you to give a comparison of them. Starts from the smaller kit on the left and to the large room kit on the right. The far one has several inputs for multiple monitors, for microphone inputs, content displays, a lot you can do with them. All of them have the WebEx API and programmability to it. So you're able to extend features like the room controls and such with any of the room kits. And then accessories. This one here, this room navigator I've become fond of lately, is it gives a little bit more than the previous touch 10s provided and some programmability. You can use these on the tabletop for traditional room control, join the meeting, turn up and down the volume, move the camera around. You can also place these outside the room, which is the mode it's in now. It'll show when the room's available. You can click the button and say, the calendar view there and book it. So it gives you that ability. It's got an indicator that changes colors based on the room's occupancy or booking. So if it's occupied but not booked, it'll come up and tell you that. So if the door's shut, you don't need to knock and see. It'll let you know someone's in there already. And then it's got a third mode where it can be an independent application tablet. So you can use it for other things, whether it be a second in-room controller, maybe you're at a speaker's podium, or used in the larger rooms to kind of change the video view and do some control, or just run independent web apps. Got the little 4K cable. These are nice. I know we've been in a number of meetings where it's, what do you have? A Mac? Or are you using USB-C, HDMI? This has all three connectors in the head of one cable. So you put that in the center of your conference table. No more adapters running around. And then on the right, we have two different microphones. The top one is a ceiling mount microphone. Does a phenomenal job. It is not as big as it looks. I think it looks enormous, but it's sticks down a few inches from the ceiling, 8 or 9 inches with that shield, and provides a very, very good audio experience. A room like this would benefit from that being hung here in the center and doing the noise canceling. Then there's the traditional tabletop mics. With what? Oh, scheduling. Yeah. So on the WebEx calling side in the cloud, you have a connector to your Active Directory, and it used to be on premise, but if you're using Azure AD, it can connect through the cloud. And so for your user accounts, it recognizes the user has an email address in your calendar. You just give it that permission. For the rooms, you assign a room. Let me jump over and I'll just show you that in WebEx. So we'll take one of our rooms. It's called a workspace. And we'll grab, let's see, that Granger conference room. And so for scheduling, I am going to set up an email address for it. I tell it I want it to be a calendar and what it is. So I can have multiple calendars if whatever reason you're running more than Exchange, and then the email address to go with it. You can do hot desking. That's where you just have the QR code available. So the calendar integration is through the control hub connecting to your Azure AD. And that's why I'm still got this up. That's something I like to touch on. Cisco, and I look over because I've worked in this world so long, I forget about how easy they made a lot of things. Digital signage. It's been difficult in the past. We used to run Spinetics or something like that. It took some programmers to get stuff done, but it was a manageable system. Now I want digital signage. Let's just say that, we'll go back to that room we were at in Granger. I can look and see that's running the room bar, and I can scroll down through it, configuration, and go digital signage. I could enable it if it was disabled, but I could see right here, my partner AppSpace is built right into Control Hub. It's a plugin that is built into Control Hub, or I can use DNA spaces through Cisco, or I can go through other ones, but they've taken the extra steps. I mean, just so easy. I don't have to log into AppSpace. They exchange all that token information in the background to take me right to my instance, right what I want to do. I want to change the signage on that device. So it takes me right here. It knows which device it is, asks me which one of my channels I have set up. So maybe I switch it to that one. hit save, and I'm done. Back into Control Hub. My signage has been changed, and that's it. They've gone a long way, and that's not just app space. They have Informacast for paging. They have a few different products that have integrated to this level, and more continuing to come out. So if I wanted to do all of them globally, I would go back to app space and do that within theirs. I could click through it through Cisco's interface, but they don't have a mass change for all your devices. Yes. So there would be two things. If tornado, you're looking at some notifications. So depending on whether you had implemented Informacast for mass notification, if you'd done that, you know, it does the call. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Informacast. I shouldn't ask. Are you aware of Informacast? All right. Informacast is a paging notification product that'll send mass messaging out across cell phones, desk phones, devices, digital signage. And it's made for things like, you know, emergency with weather, active shooter in schools, Lord forbid, but different scenarios we have that instant. So typically in that scenario, we'd use Informacast to then trigger the app space to change all that. And those two are built in. So it can be done for emergency and ad hoc as needed. It can be done if you have a sign going around like we had for Customer Appreciation Day, a couple different devices, and we want to put the same message across all of them. You can kick in that ad hoc mode and make that happen as well. So, great question. All right, I feel like I'm going to say this is my favorite device again because I just like them all. This one is really a step up from Gen 1. The Generation 1 devices worked well. They were innovative, and this one works as you would expect it. So there's a big difference. You get things like whiteboards real smooth, easy, and it should just be a natural use thing. And whiteboard's not been like that. Not just Cisco, but a lot of other companies. We've had infrared attempts where it's trying to track your pen. Different things I've done over the years to get whiteboarding content sharing right. And this device nails it. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of whiteboarding we have time for at the end, but it allows content sharing. It allows that meeting experience. It's an all-in-one device. The roller kit makes it mobile. So in our lower level in Granger, it's a big open conference room area. And at the moment, we're waiting on some additional gear to show up so we can finish building that out. But I got this device in a couple months ago and went ahead and put the wheels on it. And I put it in front of a high top table that we have there. About 4 people could sit there. And I thought, we'll let them use it. It didn't take long for people to realize it's on wheels. And they started moving that thing around. A lot of the furniture down there is mobile or at least easily movable. And I got a call one day, said, hey, you got to look at what they did to the room down there. We had Cisco in, the guy moved the board over, the chairs got all moved around. So I kick on our Meraki camera and look at the lower level. I'm like, that is pretty slick down there. And what they had done is made kind of an arch out of all of our chairs around this board. And the Cisco guy was just up there whiteboarding. He had another expert on the other end. They were collaborating. It just worked really well. And it was kind of interesting to me as a collaboration guy. Here I'd set this up and thought, it's not going to stay here. We're going to move it. And the users grabbed that and started doing stuff with it and finding new ways to use it. And it kind of opened up my eyes to, hey, this has a lot more than some of the things I'd thought. So it's a very, very cool device. In our Indianapolis office, we have this in the lobby. That's a wall mount. So it greets you when you come in. It's kind of neat as I've seen different people, including Jason, just go up to it and start a meeting and, hey, come over here and let's meet. And it kind of created that community feel around the board. Just have a quick pop-up meeting. And up in Granger, we're putting one in the engineering area, which will be fun because we had a whiteboard before, but you know, whiteboards is a dry eraser board. So having this there where we can pull up our app and it grabs the board. We can do our whiteboarding, throw it down to a WebEx space. We can invite other people in. We can share it. Makes that whiteboard really powerful because I don't need to take a picture as I did in years past, then post it to a room. It's editable. You can go with me. I can forward it. I can add other people. And of course, this has all those other features from WebEx in addition to whiteboarding. Beautiful camera, great video modes, and the audio is phenomenal. All right, so this is the WebEx suite. a lot of things I covered on here, you're familiar with. One of them it didn't touch on is VidCast. Anyone heard of VidCast? VidCast is like a little short video recording. I use it for like what I call like video voicemail or short little training clips. Just something I want to record a quick video. I know there's lots of utilities. I've downloaded them and wondered what the heck it's doing to my computer. I've tried joining WebEx rooms, hitting record, and that works pretty well. But Cisco realized people were doing this and they were using that recording capability within WebEx to kind of share their desktop and record and do some things. So they created a little standalone tool called VidCast that comes with the WebEx suite. And it allows you to do short recordings using your webcam or one of these devices. And then you can post it and share it with others. So as we were looking at deploying these devices to our account managers, we use VidCast to record probably 10 different videos, share them with them so they quickly knew how to use the devices. Just a little 3-minute, I kind of call them like TikTok videos. Here's how to get started. Again, I've worked a long time. This power button, 5 minutes. I had to break down and read the manual before I figured out where that thing was. I was pushing the volume buttons, everything else. And one of our account managers had the same thing. And I got to tell him, hey, you watched my video, it was there. So it was great to get it out. Think of like onboarding. We all hire employees. You could do little short videos. The way we did it in years past at NSI was kind of like drinking from the fire hose. Welcome, meet everybody. Here's your responsibilities. And then the next 3 days, we're going to show you about those. There'll be a test next week. All right, we didn't test them like that, but now we've got videos. We can take them through some of that process and they can refer back to those and go, okay, I remember Brad telling me I had to do time entries. I have no clue how to do time entries. Let me go look at that video. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, they know how to do time entries properly. So it's a really good utility. It centralizes it, makes it easy to share, and yeah, included. So almost to the end here of my slides. This one's only got a QR code on it. It's kind of for the techs in the room. How many people have opened TAC cases? Arms working after food? Nobody's opened a TAC case. All right, we got one over there. TACbot is a WebEx bot that allows you to interact with your TAC cases. You can get status. You can escalate to a room with your engineer. You can escalate the case to a duty manager or a higher severity. It allows you to interact with your TAC cases through WebEx Messenger and allows a better communication. They also monitor it a little bit closer. Since it's a fairly new thing, the duty managers are using it and watching it, and they've got automation built in to escalate it a little bit more. So if you work TAC cases, you want to check out that 4-minute video of getting set up with WebEx Bot. All right, then we'll talk about some of the competition and putting it all together, because I had a big slide of all the stuff that it takes to build a collaboration system, right? And then I showed it on-prem and how Cisco does it as a single vendor with all the on-premise stuff. And this is Microsoft, my favorite competitor, I suppose. The things they do very well, we recognize. They're good emails. I use their Office suite. Their phone system has gone through a few revisions, Link and Skype and all that. So they got where they're at, and it's fairly solid. But then when you look at the rest of the offering with Microsoft, in order to build that out, you're looking at someone else's phones, gateways, network infrastructure, conferencing. They got a bit there with Teams as well. So I guess I should move that one up. But you're looking at a couple different vendors. I can throw PSTN down here at the bottom. And so I think about all these different things, how well they work together under Cisco. I look at Control Hub, how easy it is to navigate. Part of going to the cloud is to consume things as a service. I doubt you want to chase down different things. So when I think about phone system goes down, a lot of the calls I get are around the big telcos. AT&T, Verizon, you got a circuit out, things aren't working right. We're jumping to the gateways, something you're not going to manage under Teams. The telco you're not going to manage. You're going to be calling 2-3 different companies trying to get this stuff out. My point being, with Cisco, you have one company to call. I'd rather call Cisco at 2 a.m. than AT&T, because I've called both at 2 a.m. and I know who answers the phone. So it's a different experience. You get one vendor to cover all your collaboration needs, one support center. It's a much better experience as it all works under the ecosystem. And then, of course, friends at NSA like to give us a few stats to go with here. So after COVID hit and everybody went home, we started thinking about things, those freemiums. What did I sign up for? What am I using? And people at the federal government thought that as well and said, let's have the NSA, our security experts, do a little review of these different products we've adopted. And as you can see, Microsoft did okay, Slack, Zoom, but there's pieces lacking. Cisco was the only vendor that checked all the boxes. End-to-end security, data at rest and transit is secure. That's more you could say for a lot of them. So you think about your data, intellectual property. We have, you know, the mindset of certain countries stealing things, getting in, and this is very important. So with that, I'll leave you with one more. I talked about on that slide, VR, AR. This is the future now.
Replacement for in-person interaction, but it can feel like we're together, interacting with the same objects while being thousands of miles apart. Introducing WebEx Hologram, the industry's first real-time holographic collaboration solution. This is a holographic meeting. It's a shared, intuitive interaction, allowing remote participants to experience the same immersive event. It's a transformative technology for designers, engineers, technicians, innovators, and more. This isn't some faraway vision for the future. It's available to a limited set of customers right now. The expectation of hybrid work has been elevated.
I think it's pretty impressive. I mean, that is amazing technology, and seeing Cisco evolve and others evolve over the years using AR, VR. I remember, I think it's 2007, Cisco Live. They had this little semi with a hologram thing. I thought, that's incredible. It's going to be here anytime. And not so much. Takes a lot of bandwidth and other stuff. So as technology caught up, that changed. We weren't in this big semi full of equipment to make it happen. It's in a headset. It's in devices. This is on the platform that's currently in use in production. Cisco spent a lot of time building a very solid and reliable platform to allow for things like AR and VR in the future and build upon that. Make that a seamless transition. Back up in that video, you see they're using a Desk Pro to initiate that. That's stuff that's working at a customer site today. I don't know that I got a use case for it, but I watch my kids playing on Metaverse and working and playing in that VR world. And I could tell that's the future that a lot of people are going to be working and living in. And to see that the vendors ahead of the game, they've got a solid, reliable system to build off of, and they've got it working like it should. So that, I thank you for your time, and I'll invite Jason. There he is. So I don't know if you guys got a chance to meet Jason, sales director, newest. Get your slide back up there.
All
There
right.
you go, sir.
Thanks, Brad. You're welcome. I know the star of the show is here, and that is the food, followed by the dessert. But I want to thank Brad for the presentation of the materials he has given you all today, and offer a couple of additional things as we wrap up. And thank you again for your time. There are many doors and options that you can choose. If you are already an NSI customer, a Cisco customer, thank you for choosing our door. That's first and foremost. As we move along here, just to emphasize who I am and what I do here. So my name is Jason Knoll. I'm very new to NSI. I'm very new to this space called IT. So I want to walk you through how somebody who used to work for the Boy Scouts of America as a professional fundraiser when I got out of the Army, went to this little company called AT&T, and then worked for a little motorcycle company, and then goes to ag technology and is now here. So what do these things have in common? They connect people. They connect with people. So I'll just start with the Boy Scouts of America. Has that gone through change? Just saying. Yeah, gone through a little change. AT&T, my mom worked there 37 years. I was there 7 years and went through 12 mergers and acquisitions. Started with AT&T and ended with AT&T, but went to Southwestern Bell, Bell South, everything in between. And that, if you will look on the left-hand side, is AT&T's current logo. That was the logo before it. I guess we just had to drop the AT&T. But if you don't know, AT&T does not stand for American Telegraph and Telephone. It stands for at this time. It really doesn't. But who rides a motorcycle? Harley Davidson, by chance? Okay. So I'm going to come back to this one in just a second. This one's going to really catch you. Agricultural technology. So I worked for a little startup just before I came here that was utilizing technology to connect the farm equipment to the farmer, to the material coming out of the ground, to the material going on the ground by the use of a cell phone. You know, you can't even start a tractor or a combine if it's not connected to GPS. It won't even let you. And here I am at NSI with Cisco. Okay, this building is 120 years old. It is in downtown Milwaukee. Not far from here. It is the world headquarters of Harley Davidson motorcycles. At its peak, Harley Davidson motorcycles between its 3 plants and this building had 4,200 employees. It now has 2 assembly plants. The one in Kansas City was decommissioned, and they added more assembly lines to the one in York, Pennsylvania. And there is nobody that works in that building anymore. Not since COVID. That building is empty. This is a screenshot taken from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel that showed you what they're getting ready to do with the building. They're getting ready to turn it into art. So I think it's fair to say that everybody is working in a different environment. I will also say that they are completely using collaboration in all cases because everyone is now working from their home. This is an American iconic brand celebrating its 120th year, turning it into a park because everybody's working in. This here, Smokey and the Bandit. Great movie, right? This is an actual picture and depiction of how they set that movie up and recorded it and videoed it. That's right there. This movie over here, The Martian, has anybody seen that? They shot that entire movie on GoPros. I don't know. It looks like there's some significant difference there, right? And the quality, when you watch that GoPro Martian movie, it doesn't have the same Rebel vibe, but it sure is significantly different. The cell phone. Who has one? Hold it up. That's a Joe. Who has kids? Can you get your kid to answer the phone? No. But working for AT&T, I had my fair share of the cell phone. Started on POTS lines. Everybody starts on the POTS line at AT&T or did. August 2nd, 2020, the federal government said, we don't have to have POTS lines anymore. You don't have to maintain POTS lines anymore. Guess what? There are no more POTS. By 2025, there's a pretty good chance there will be no more POTS lines. This is the evolution of the cell phone till we get to this here today. And we're going to show you how this here today ties into this technology and how great it is. I'm going to go over here and demonstrate this device real time. But before I do that, we've got some account managers here with us. And I just want you all to know, as you heard from Brad, that we are using this stuff real time every day and have been for about 60 days now. We do have a demo center that we just talked about a little bit here in Indianapolis, as well as one in our South Bend Granger area. And we have converted our entire offices to this technology. We would invite you, if you see the need or hunger when you leave here today, we would invite you to say, hey, I want to see more. I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I want to play with it. But before we go any further, let me try to get a hold of somebody here. Hey, Steve.
There he is.
What are you doing? So we've got Steve who's sitting right here. He's using the wireless technology, the cellular technology in this restaurant or outside, dialed in on his cell phone. Okay. He's not on Wi-Fi. We've got Zach. Hey, Zach. And Zach is in our Granger office on the new 75-inch board that we talked about a few minutes ago. So I want to point a few things out, utilizing Zach first. Hey, Zach, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah. Hey, Zach, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me okay today?
I can still hear you.
Zach, would you back up and walk through the room?
Just have the word Pro 75 on speaker track right now, so it should follow me wherever I go. Adjust.
So
Can you hear me?
Oh, hear you fantastic. Fantastic.
If I can move out of the lens, moves up.
That's
Can you
all.
hear me?
It's just rolling. Hey, Zach,
Can you hear me?
oh yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. I just want to send you a little message here. Yeah.
Certainly.
You want to play some tic-tac-toe, or it's a
Absolutely.
game I used to play when I was little. I used to say, I got the X's and I got the O's. You get the vibe. You get the vibe.
You're El King.
Oh man,
I think I cheated, but
you cheated. You cheated. But the coolest part of this is I can see who's doing what on the flip side, because it's titling who's doing what on the flip side. You can see what the image would look like here, from here on his side. When I blow that up. And yes, sir. It goes on and on. But I will tell you that there is no doubt about it. Change is happening. It's happening real time. We had a presentation just like this yesterday in our Fort Wayne area. And there were some folks sitting in the audience. And they said, you know, we're struggling with hiring right now. We've been trying to hire for a while. Part of the reason they're struggling is that they're not attracting the type of talent that they're looking for or that they want. And they don't want to underserve the population of people that they work with in their own business, their employees. And they said, you know, we're trying to get our senior leaders and managers to understand that we can attract greater talent and bigger communities and towns if we just utilized different technology like this. And I'll tell you, working in agriculture technology startup, the greatest talent pool is here in Indiana. It's Purdue. It is the greatest talent pool. But all of the startups or all of the companies are actually based out of California. And they use software developers and writers out of Armenia because it's affordable. And so when you take a technology like this and you have students or new grads from Purdue in Indiana communicating with people in Armenia and reporting to somebody in California, it will not only allow that interaction to happen, it'll do the translation for you. And I've been fortunate enough to see it real time. I just can't thank you enough for being here. We can't thank you enough again for being our customer or allowing us an opportunity to serve you in the future. But we do know one thing. It's not going away. It's ever evolving. There are fewer and fewer switches, routers, basic infrastructure that is taking place from an interactive experience or transactional experience every day. More and more going to the cloud. The way that we ultimately will communicate to get work done is never ending and changing. So our goal today was really just to show you, hey, it's not changing. Y'all know that. But we wanted to show you what the next introduction and evolution of this looks like and let you know there's more to come and we're here to serve you. So.
Yeah.